What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about 10 things that the UK does better than the US. What? No. Impossible. I don't believe it. Okay, actually, I could probably be convinced. I believe it. There's things that I'm sure the UK does better than the US. There's things that perhaps, maybe the US does better than other places, and all sorts of countries around the world that do certain things certain ways that could, arguably be better or worse. I don't know. I don't know what kind of metrics we're going to look at here. I don't know what kind of data and stats we're about to see, or if this is all like opinion. I don't know, but it's caught my interest. 10 things the UK does better than the US. I am very interested to see. So let's take a look.
It's impossible to say which country is the best in the world. However, a case can be made for some countries just being better than others, at
Oh,
least in specific fields.
oh,
These are 10
oh my gosh. Oh, the way he said that had me sweating for a second. I was like, is this narrator some kind of like super hyper, like, I don't know where this disembodied person is from, but the way they said that was like, some places are just better. And
countries just being better than others, at least in specific fields. These are 10
okay,
things the United Kingdom just does better than the United States.
okay. Of course, they have to put it in giant, glowing, bold text. 10 things the United Kingdom does better than the United States. Okay, I get it. I get it. Oh, wait, here we go. Cost effective heads of state. Ah, yeah, that's probably true.
Many Americans often mock British people for still having a queen. They often say, "Get with the times. You're not free if you have a monarch. Your tax money is just being wasted." Well, the
That's actually probably pretty accurate. A lot of Americans are still very confused about the role that the monarchy, king and queen and royalty play in the modern United Kingdom. And, they could just Google it and probably figure it out or watch a bunch of YouTube like I do. But that's very true. Americans do often, like, still to this day, not understand that relationship.
You're not free if you have a monarch. Your tax money is just being wasted. Well, the truth is that U.S. taxpayers have to pay more for their leaders. In 2014, the British royal family cost UK taxpayers just £35.7 million, while
Okay.
President Obama and his family cost U.S. taxpayers $1.4 billion in expenses that same year.
What does that even mean? That's kind of a strange way to put it. Like saying that Obama. When was this made, by the way? 6 years ago. I was like, okay, we're going back to Obama. Saying that Obama personally costed taxpayers anything is sort of a strange way to put it. Just like saying that that royalty in the UK costed tax. It's not like it's not like them themselves individually are going out with a bucket collecting the money. It's a government. It's a group of people. It's a bunch of people making policy and taxation decisions collectively. Perhaps, with the president in charge, of course, absolutely true. But I still think this is maybe a funny, strange way to put it.
£35.7 million, while President Obama and his family cost U.S. taxpayers $1.4 billion in expenses that same year. So when it comes to cost-effective leadership, the Queen of England, ironically, is less expensive than the President of the United States.
Yeah, the president of the United States and like collectively that whole like portion of the government would be probably a better way to put it, and that doesn't surprise me at all. Plus, there's a whole government besides UK royalty. There's prime minister and several like parliaments or sections of parliament that probably do a whole lot of taxation and policy making themselves. So I don't know why we're comparing the United States president to the king or queen. That seems a little strange to me. Traffic control.
The studies are in.
Although, I will say, before we jump to the next topic, I don't want to be misinterpreted here. The United States is outrageously sort of frivolous and unresponsible, you could say, with its taxation and what it spends its money on and what it chooses to prioritize in terms of funding in the United States. Absolutely agree with that. I'm sure that the argument should have really been like US government spending versus UK government spending, not US government versus the royalty. So take that for what you will.
And the verdict is clear. Roundabouts are not only more efficient than US-style traffic intersections, they're also safer.
Okay, I like this one much better. Roundabouts. Wow, talk about change up here. Okay, talking about traffic. Roundabouts barely exist at all in the United States, and it's a huge problem. It irks me because I lived in this area that had a roundabout. Best invention mankind ever came up with. Incredible. Love it. It is a little scary doing it in the United States because Americans don't quite understand yet what's going on, and it takes most of them a moment to process the roundabout. And, you know, there might be some scary moments, but if we made them more common in the United States, you know, that issue would solve itself eventually. And they're just so great, man. So efficient. Love it.
Mythbusters even tested this theory, and they clearly demonstrated that roundabouts allow for 20% more cars to pass through in any period of time than what is possible in an intersection. Another advantage is that in a roundabout, drivers don't have to bring their vehicles to a complete stop. This has been shown to be safer for both drivers and pedestrians.
You didn't even have to convince me of this one. I'm on board with the roundabouts already.
So all in all, in this area, the UK has the US beat when it comes to traffic control.
Yeah, so roundabouts are like very common in the UK? Is that true? That's what I keep hearing, so I guess it's true. That's very, very good. Oh, well, intelligence! Hey, what are we saying here? Wait, what are we about to say here about intelligence? Things the UK does better than the US. Intelligence!
The average intelligence of each country in the world is something that has been rigorously studied over the past few decades.
Oh boy.
Well, the results are in, and quite embarrassingly, people in the UK are smarter than people in the United States. The average IQ of the United Kingdom...
That's not embarrassing. Like, if the narrator wants me to be embarrassed, I'm not embarrassed. Oh look, we're number 9. That's not too bad. I'm sure a lot of the people in the United States would be not embarrassed, but maybe salty over this. They'd be upset about this. But if this is what the data says, fair enough.
Stands at 100, while the United States falls short with an average IQ score of 98.
Average IQ of 98. I'm not very good with, what's like a good IQ score? Good IQ score, on average, would be 130 or higher signals high IQ. Top 2% of people is 132 or higher, which is the high IQ society. Maybe not a genius. Einstein had an IQ of 200 or 225. A score of 116 is considered above average. So if Americans have 98, that is not above average. So, unfortunate. But this is an average of the entire country, and even the UK has an average of 100, compared to the US, which is 98. Not too much difference there, but okay. Technically, the citizens of the UK, on average, are 2 IQ points smarter. I'll give it to you.
100, while the United States falls short with an average IQ score of 98. This may not seem like a lot, but those 2 crucial points are enough to make the United States fall below the mean European IQ, which is 100.
No!
Many people argue about the cause of this, whether it be better schooling or higher standards of living, but the facts don't lie.
Right, that's a good point. What is the cause of something like this? Plus, the population of the US is pretty enormous. So, the sample size is it's better probably because you have so much people. I don't know what sample they took for all this, but maybe the US's score is like slightly more accurate. So, maybe I don't know. I'm guessing the way they tabulated all this, it's pretty much correct. So, I think I'm just salty to hear that 2 IQ points is apparently pretty significant.
High. When it comes to IQ, the UK is superior to the US.
Okay. Scientific research, really? Man, I would have thought the United States was. Well, maybe it's going to be like the IQ thing, where the US is up there pretty high, you would think, in scientific research. But the UK is just a little higher. But both are good?
Now that you know the differences in average IQ between the US and the United Kingdom, it probably doesn't come as a surprise when you learn that the UK actually contributes more to science than the United States, at
Okay.
least on a per capita basis,
Oh, per capita. Okay, we're really getting into the weeds now.
which is the metric that divides the number of scientific papers published by a country's scientists and divides that number by the country's population.
Okay. This is kind of what I was getting at earlier, where population has something to do with influencing some of these scores, but okay, so the UK has more scientific contributors compared to population density compared to the US.
This results in a number that gives you a good idea of how scientifically productive a country is on average. Well, in
Okay.
this category, the United Kingdom has the United States outclassed.
Yep, there you go. I mean, this isn't embarrassing to me. I'm going to keep saying that. I'm going to keep my smile on and go, this is fine. No, no, but seriously, like all these countries, these are like the most financially successful, brilliant, like top countries on the planet on this list. It's okay if we're like down on the list a little bit. It doesn't hurt my feelings or anything. It's all good. Plus, it's just good to see so much of the world contributing to scientific research.
The UK publishes 1.424 scientific papers for every 1,000 citizens, while the United States only produces 0.988 scientific.
Okay, that's pretty significant. If you write it like an average like this, that's pretty significant. That's like, I don't know if I'm getting my percentages correct, but almost 50% more per thousand people?
Papers per every 1,000 citizens. This gap in contributions in the world scientific community is a point of pride for people living in the United Kingdom, and this is certainly an area where the United States should try to catch up.
Whoa! Whoa! Hey, why does this narrator have to add on these little extra tidbits at the end? I feel like he gets his little piece in, he owns the US, he's like, gotcha, we're better again. And then at the end, he's like, yeah, maybe US, maybe think about catching up a little bit. Wind power. Oh, yeah. Well, I certainly don't see a lot of windmills and such harvesting wind power in the United States. It's really quite rare and exciting when you pass them with your car.
The United Kingdom possesses the most productive offshore wind farm in the entire world.
Huh,
This world-class installation is the Greater Gabbard Wind Farm, which
cool.
produces over 1.75 terawatt hours of clean and renewable energy every year. The United
Oh,
States, and indeed the rest of the world, has nothing that can compete with this installation.
wow, I didn't know that. The UK had such a amazing technologically progressive wind farm. Didn't
In
know
fact,
that.
the United States doesn't even have a position in the top 25 most productive offshore wind farms.
Okay, I do believe that. When was this made again? 6 years ago, right. Maybe that's changed in the past 6 years? Hopefully. Hopefully. This goes right back to number one, where with the US's spending habits, it's like this is a good example. The UK investing in renewable energy, wind farms, and the US, who knows, man? Who knows? Definitely not some like world class wind electrical processing plants or anything.
while the United Kingdom holds the top first, second, and third spots, with
Wow.
Denmark being its closest competitor. The UK's superiority doesn't just end there, however. The United
Okay.
Kingdom is the lar-
Okay, I get it.
The UK's superiority doesn't just end there, however. The United Kingdom is the largest exporter of offshore generated wind power, which means that not only is the UK producing the most offshore wind energy, it's also creating enough to supply other countries.
Wow. Oh, writing books? Really? Is this going to end up being another per capita thing? Because the population of the US is obviously much bigger than the population of the UK. So you would think we would have more authors and writers overall, just because we have a bigger population. So I feel like a lot of this is dependent on the per capita analysis, where it's okay to kind of make it an even playing field. Well, how many authors and writers and books are being made compared to the population? So I'm guessing that's going to be a part of this.
Just as with wind power and scientific papers, the United Kingdom is better when it comes to producing authors and great works of literature. The UK tops the charts of publications per capita, with only China and the United States beating out the country in absolute terms, despite the UK's much smaller populations.
Okay, yeah, exactly. It's exactly like that. Not taking anything away from it. I think that's actually very useful now that I think of it to put it in like a per capita kind of analysis, because that otherwise everything would just be determined by who has the most people, the biggest population, which is no fun.
Overall, the UK produces 2,875 titles each year for every 1 million inhabitants of the country, while the
Okay.
United States only produces 956 titles for every 1 million inhabitants.
Wow, almost 3 times more per person, basically.
This is an even more impressive feat when you learn that the UK has only one-fifth the population of the United States.
There, oh, I'm glad he said that. I was thinking, like, I actually don't know the population of the UK. 1/5 of the US. Okay, that's a good reference.
So when it comes to books, the US is still quite a few chapters behind the UK.
Successful film franchises? Now, this surprises me. Since, like, Hollywood is in the US, a lot of huge media and entertainment stars come to the US to do business, make movies. This surprises me.
While it is true that Hollywood is the film capital of the world, and as a result produces more films per year, this doesn't compare to one of the UK's greatest film achievements. The most successful film franchise of all time is a British film franchise, the James Bond series. The James
Oh, okay. So we're really talking about like the number one biggest franchise belongs to the UK.
Bond series was the first to gross over $1 billion in sales, and
Harry Potter too, right?
is still the highest grossing film franchise. It seems that people still prefer the
Oh, we're just talking about the biggest franchise. Okay, because I was like, Harry Potter was clearly above it on the list in like revenue and stuff. But Bond has like so many movies at this point, yeah.
full suave charisma of Agent 007 to the loud action and violence of most American films.
Internet speed? What? Now, I didn't know this was a thing. What? Why would the internet speed be better in the UK? Huh.
If you're a fan of watching YouTube videos, this is probably the most important category where the UK is better than the US.
Oh.
Despite having invented the internet, the UK has the US outclassed when it comes to average internet speeds. As of 2015, the average connection speed in the UK was 13 megabits per second, while the US only had an average of 12.6 megabits per second.
Okay. Now, this is not some kind of huge discrepancy. It's a true statement. It can be on the little list of things that the UK does better. They do it a little better from this little analysis, but come on. That is so similar.
So the next time you're in an argument with a British person on the internet, remember that they probably have you outclassed in internet connection speed.
Oh, okay. Discovery of new elements. Okay.
Of the 118 known elements on the periodic table, 24 were discovered by British scientists.
Wow.
This is more than any other country, and further reinforces the case of British superiority in the sciences over the United States.
British superiority now. Okay. Yeah, 24 out of the like 100 some elements. That's pretty outrageous. That's pretty cool.
This number includes crucial elements such as hydrogen, sodium, xenon, and platinum. The US, however, wasn't totally outclassed by the UK, as the country did discover 21 elements on the periodic table.
Oh, I actually didn't know that, to be honest. 21 versus 24? This should be like a team up kind of thing. Like, together, the UK and US have almost discovered half of all elements. That's pretty cool.
And as a result, earns a very respectable second place.
Yeah. Having their flag in other countries' flags. Okay, this one I do know about because of the insane, huge reach and expansion of the British Empire throughout history. Yes, the flag is a part of many, many, many other nations' flags, which I have learned a bit about.
This is probably the greatest sign of the UK's importance and massive impact on the shape and history of the globe.
Okay.
As a legacy of the once great British Empire, countless flags around the globe still bear the Union Jack. From Australia to New Zealand and even Fiji, over 20 major flags around the world contain the Union Jack in one form or another.
Yeah, when I first learned about this, it kind of blew my mind. I didn't really know this was such a prominent thing, having the Union Jack be a part of so many other countries, so many nations that the British Empire touched. Because I just didn't know a lot about British history, to be honest. That's another reaction I did a while back. This is pretty insane, pretty crazy, fascinating stuff. It's living proof of like history. Absolutely true. I feel like a lot of Americans actually do not know about this.
Perhaps the most interesting and most humorous is that the number includes the U.S. state of Hawaii, which prominently and proudly displays the Union Jack. The very first flag of the young United States, the Grand Union flag, even contained the Union Jack as well. While countries such as Liberia and Malaysia have similar flags to the U.S. flag, these are poor facsimiles at best, and are vastly outnumbered by countries, states, and territories that still fly the Union Jack with pride.
Okay.
For more top lists just like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Okay. Goodness gracious. That was a good list. That narrator got, dare I say, borderline aggressive at points with defeating, with having the 10 things be better than the US. It's true. You don't gotta rub it in. All in good fun. This was by Top Lists, and I liked it. This is exactly what I was hoping to learn. Very interesting. Any funny comments? Am I the only British who searches videos about this and be really proud? Yeah, I don't blame you. So proud to be British. 11th reason, we don't have Jake Paul. Funny. UK all the way. Okay, I'll give it to you. I'm the one who searched for this video. I can't complain too much. This is what I wanted to know. 10 things the UK does better than the US. Most of this stuff, I honestly had never known. A few of these things were kind of, UK and the US are neck and neck in a couple of these things, but there are several very, very legitimate and important points on this list that were quite interesting to me. So I enjoyed this. I did. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to the UK culture, things in and about the UK that I have never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.